Hello, I'm Michael Jacobides, the Sir Donald Gordon Professor of Entrepreneurship and Innovation and Professor of Strategy at London Business School and Lead Advisor at Evolution Limited. And I'm joined here by Yuri Romanenkov, who is the Academic Director of our Next Generation Digital Strategies program at LBS and a Senior Advisor at Evolution Limited. And we're speaking about the impact of GenAI and private equity.
Michael, everyone's talking about GenAI. What is different about this work?
This work is trying to go beyond the use cases, which is what everyone has looked at, and to consider whether the hype is justified or not. So we're looking not only at how people are employing GenAI, but also what are the expectations for industry transformation. And the most interesting findings come from figuring out where we're going to see impact and where not. And it's not going to be the same in industries. It also varies by business models, and we get some cool data in terms of how organizations differ in their ability of responding to GenAI.
One of the main observations there relates to corporate inequalities widening potentially as a result of this. What explains that, and how do we think about it?
Generally, digital technologies amplify the inequalities. They give the possibility to some firms to scale up and get a bigger part of the market share. But here what we see is that they also get new attributes that are important in success. So things like proprietary data become very important. If you have proprietary data, then you can leverage the new technologies and what GenAI does and helping you understand what the patterns are, and you are able to find new ways of serving your customers or even expand beyond the offerings that you get. So we see that there's going to be winners are those who will get the information infrastructure as well as be able to embed the results of what GenAI tells you in their own operations. So let's go a little bit at the firms that report that they have seen transformative impact. Around 22% in our sample say they've seen it. What explains that?
One of the things that we find about these 22% of firms is that they go beyond the obvious. They don't just focus on the easier, more modular cost or productivity initiatives that are easy for everyone to replicate. But they go beyond that. They look to GenAI for potential for new business models. They look to GenAI for a step change in customer engagement. And we find that the proportion of firms experimenting with these different value levers is considerably higher amongst companies that experience high impact than those that experience low impact. Yeah. That said though, Michael, what do you think, what is it that ultimately gives you the right to win in there? What does it take to be able to deliver on GenAI at scale?
The funny thing is that the answer is not technological. What you need to do is to, first of all, embed GenAI. We see that companies that are successful are not the ones that just try everything and they are broad, but they are deep, that they are consistent in the way that they use GenAI and that they ensure that they do that regularly, and in particular those that for the more sensitive parts of their organization, for operations and for the way that they engage with the customers, employ GenAI. It also is important to see that those that win are those that look at the implementation of GenAI and the engagement not only of technology, but also of the changes in strategy and the changes in organization that are going to make a difference. So once again, it has much more to do with your having a strategic take than thinking about technology and hoping that technology will lift all boats and will yield dividends. So let's look at private equity. What does it mean for private equity investors?
It's interesting because I think it means a number of different things for different private equity players. If you're a large cap buyout investor and you were generally historically concerned about changes in business models, then the disruption of industries and this redistribution of economic profit that you just described is potentially very alarming news. So they need to build a profound view of their own of what GenAI means for the industries they're looking at. For growth investors who who look at companies at slightly earlier stages in their development, that's actually excellent news, because they may place bets on the winners and not the losers, and look at the capabilities and look at the value levers in a way that can capture value for them and their LPs. But ultimately, when we think about it practically, they need a new way of doing due diligence on these companies. They need to make sure that they look outside and they really understand how technology links to these value levers that we were talking about. And for their portfolio companies, how they engage with the management teams there, they need to really work with them to help them build the right capabilities that these companies need to make the most out of this really exciting technological revolution in so many ways.